Everyone's talking about their New Year's resolutions.
What's yours, Nathan?
To wear a scarf, but unironically. Meanwhile, we're talking about reboots.
In a world where no one knew the original source material, one man stood up to the massive comic book continuity and said,
Here's where you start. Welcome to Meanwhile, the show that introduces you to the world of comics and connects it to the shows and games you already know and love. My name is Nathan Faudrey. Let's get started. It seems like everything is getting rebooted these days. Some only a year or two apart. Green Arrow was on Smallville and now on Arrow. Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, whatever happens next with Spider-Man, and then there's the Fantastic Four. Enough said.
Maybe Meanwhile needs a reboot.
Chris, I don't think we need a reboot. We've been on for like 4 months.
I think we should just consider this before we just completely deny my idea.
Okay.
No.
The comic medium has been doing reboots for years while building a massive universal continuity. So, to talk about reboots, we're going to have to talk about continuity. What is it? Well, it's basically just the continuing story, what each character has done in the past, and how that affects where the story goes in the future. Comics are uniquely challenging when it comes to continuity because each character has had a lot of different writers since their origin. Take Superman, for example. Superman started in 1938. He's had literally thousands of writers, all essentially working on the same story. Now, if you add into that the fact that Superman has appeared in a bunch of other characters' books with Batman, Justice League, Wonder Woman, the story grows and is now all about those characters encompassing an entire universe, the DC universe. And the DC universe is all about a multiverse, meaning there are alternate realities and versions of characters and they sometimes cross back and forth.
Hey, so what if we rebooted Meanwhile with 2 Nathans like in the Future's End episode?
I think that's an awesome idea. Get out of here. Let's just say that there was a lot of stuff to keep track of. That's exactly where DC was at in 1985 when they decided to publish their groundbreaking piece, Crisis on Infinite Earths. This story involved the destruction of multiple Earths with the heroes of the multiverse gathering together to stop the Anti-Monitor. By the end of the story, the entire universe had been rebooted. It gave writers a chance to start over with a clean slate and modernize the heroes. This is the granddaddy of reboots and set the stage for everything after it.
What if you're on stage? Like you're in a theater and the lights go up and the spotlight comes on?
Meanwhile, Marvel has what's known as a rolling continuity. I'm gonna get to it! Rolling continuity. So their reboots happen all the time, but are what's known as soft reboots. See, this means the history is acknowledged, but it's often rewritten for the current time by the current author. Universe-wide changes do happen, but don't usually involve a hard reboot of the whole thing, just a new direction, like the Marvel Now initiative of a few years back, which saw a lot of shifting in backstories to allow new groups to form up and new takes on characters to happen.
What if we had a new take on the host of Meanwhile?
What?
I don't think I should do this.
When Marvel wanted to tell more modern stories, they created a whole separate universe. The Ultimate Universe reintroduced Spider-Man and the X-Men into a world that we could recognize and that had never seen their kind before. The Ultimate Universe also directly laid the groundwork for the Marvel Cinematic Universe with things like a more realistic take on Captain America and Iron Man, and even put Sam Jackson in the role of Nick Fury by modeling the character directly on him. Most recently, DC rebooted their entire universe as a result of the series Flashpoint. When critical changes in history are made, the Flash tries to change things back, but a mysterious woman guides him back to a world where all of the DC heroes are emerging again for the first time. It's a perfect example of how a hard reboot works, and a great jumping on point for the entire New 52.
Guys, what if we reboot Meanwhile just like the Meanwhile it is?
There we go.
Except Nathan is gonna be Andrew Garfield now.
I'm cool with that. Marvel's Infinity event is a good example of the soft reboot. The heroes of the Marvel Universe are facing a war on 2 fronts. The builders of the universe are returning, and Thanos is invading Earth. That's a rough day. This event is a perfect example of the soft reboot, massively changing the status quo by reintroducing the Inhumans and Thanos as major players in their own books. There are rumors of imminent universe reboots coming from both companies. Over at DC, the multiverse is under attack and may be reshaped again as a result of Future's End and the upcoming Convergence storyline, which we talked about a few episodes ago. At Marvel, a universe-shaking storyline called Time Runs Out is leading up to a new summer event called Secret Wars, which may see alternate universes compete to survive, thus giving Marvel a brand new fresh slate that they can keep closer in continuity to their cinematic universe. Now that you're familiar with reboots and continuity, be sure to subscribe so that you know when next Thursday comes around, you won't miss the next episode of Meanwhile. And be sure to leave any story suggestions that you have in the comments section below. And meanwhile, everyone else is rebooting stuff, we're gonna try resandling it. Huh? I gotcha. It seems stupid, but it's actually funny. Meanwhile, here's the rest of that trailer.
In a world where no one knew the original source material, one man stood up to the massive comic book continuity and said,
Here's where you start.
directed by J.J.